Hello everyone. Today I am going to show you a couple things that you should probably know about Roblox modeling. There are obviously way better tutorials on Roblox on YouTube about this stuff, but I just thought I'd make one for fun. So first of all, if you want to get to the full modeling area, you're just going to want to press model at the very top right here. Now, here you'll get a bunch of options. So first, how you'd want to start out is make a part. So if you don't want to make a cube part, then you can go click on this little arrow and you can click different ones. So you can make a block, you can make a spear, you can make a wedge, and you can make a cylinder. Now, these are all great tools to they're all great parts that you can use. So it's nice that they let you kind of mess around with whatever here. Oh god, sorry, my mouse is just being a bit like weird right now, so just give it a moment. Now so by selecting a part, we're just gonna get rid of these parts right here. We're just gonna, so this is your part. You can, at the top, you'll see select, which lets you select it. You can't do anything right now, but you can move it around. It moves with your cursor. You can move it, which is a more specific way of moving your items or parts. And you can scale it, which changes the size. Now, if you want to do it if you want to move it both ways, you can do this cool shortcut where you hold down on control and move it in any way you want. This will change the area. This will change it. This will extend it in both ways. Now, and same for if you hold shift, it just straight up just grows. So that's something cool. Keep those in mind. Those are quite useful a lot. Rotate, very simple. You can just kind of rotate any way you want. You can get some pretty wonky stuff. But you know. Now, transform. It's kind of like all of them at the same time. It's basically, all of them at the exact same time. And you've got this little grid, I guess. I don't know what the point of it is. I don't know if there's really a specific use for this, as I do not use transform a lot. So, me personally, all I really need is move, scale, and rotate. Now here, you've got these things. So, you've got collisions, which basically means that when moving them around, they cannot go through each other. By turning off collisions, you can put them through each other whenever you want. Join surface, whenever they touch, there is a weld created, which welds both of them together. This is helpful for when you're making a tool, but I'm not going to go into tools right now. So now, when we move on to here, you've got these things. So your default would be this, I think? Yes. Your default would be something along these lines. Now, you can change this to whatever you want, but personally, I like to go 5 and 0. Or just 0, or 0.25, or 0.5, or just one stud. 0 is one if you're making more specific builds, but you can obviously do 0.25 if you're making a detailed, symmetrical build. This is because when scaling it, you can easily just make it on the same side as well. So that's something cool. Now, we move on to these things. Align and edit pivot. So, align is basically when you can basically just kind of align them however. Oops, wrong button. Wrong one. Okay, so see these two. The align tool is at the bottom here. Yes, whatever. There is these different things. So you can either make them center, min, max, whatever. Center is probably best. Now X, you'll see X, Y, Z and that stuff. That does not matter. So you'll select both of your parts, and by doing X and Y and then aligning it, they will go to the very edge of the line that you see. So if I want them to be aligned on this side or this side, then I will click Z, align, and they will be right beside each other. This is a very useful tool, but I personally do not use it a lot, as you know, I just don't find the time to use it that much. So that's the align tool. Now the edit pivot position, the edit pivot thing is kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It has something to do with attachments and where the default attachments will go. I think. That's what I think. Now, yeah, okay. So we've seen the parts, but here we've got material. So instead of clicking on these, you can go into view, and then you can click on properties. So properties are blank, but when I select this, a bunch of stuff will pop up. So this changes the color. You can change it to whatever you want. There's also this color, so yeah, you can get a bit more detailed, and you can change the different, like the material. So I'm not gonna show you every single material, but here's a little quick look at them. I personally would just go look at them yourself. Now, all of this is it's not advanced, but you know, the size is how big it is. So right now this is a 2x2. If I switch this 1, and then yeah, I'm not gonna go into like what each number means. 2 is how high it is. Okay, boy, I just realized how vague that is. Okay, so the middle number is how high it is, and then the first number is how long it is, and then the last number is how wide it is, or the middle number is how tall it is. I meant. That's what that is, and then there's the position, the orientation, which is rotation, and the origin stuff. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. You can change the shape. For some reason, you cannot change it to a wedge, but you can change it into a ball. You can change it into a cylinder and a block. So that is something useful, I think, personally. Now we move on to lock. This is something cool. By clicking on lock, this means, oh my god, when you lock something, you can no longer select it until you click on lock and then you unlock it again. So now I can select it. That's something for like, that's why you cannot select the base plate. So if I unlock the base plate, I can now select the base plate. And I'm going to lock that for the purpose of this. Now we move on to union and negation, or negate, or negating, whatever, you get it. So if you want to negate something, you can do right click and you can click negate. This basically makes it a negative part. Now negative parts are super cool because let's say, let's just get a cylinder. I am going to turn this into a negative part. So by putting this in the middle of the normal part, if you select both of them, right click, and then you can click union, where the negative part now destroys the part, like it basically just gets rid of the part where the negative part was. So that's something very useful, and then you can negate it, and then yeah, it's super cool. I'll let you get creative with that. Separating is basically when they are unioned, and then you separate it, and then it separates them. Unions are cool. It basically, the difference between, so here, there's a difference between unioning and negating and grouping something. So if I take like that. So if I take this one and then I model it or group it, it just goes into like kind of a little folder. There's still two separate parts. By double clicking on this right here, you can see this part and this part. Same here. So if you group these, it won't work. It'll just be, again, two parts, the negative part and the part. But the thing about unioning is when you union this, the Roblox Studio now recognizes it as one part. So if you look closely enough here, you can see it kind of spazzing out a bit, like the textures, because that's two parts colliding. So it doesn't know which, and they're the same size, so it doesn't know which part should overlap. So here, I'm gonna make this one pebble. So see, look at that. It doesn't know which one it wants to be. But when you union something, it's just like, it's now recognized as its own part. The only problem with this is if I were to have this one made grass, and this one set to pebble, and then I union them, it'll become grass, because grass is the first one I selected. If I select pebble first, and then grass, and then union it, it becomes pebble. You already saw how that unions that. And then yeah. So, now, that's pretty much the basics. In the next tutorial, I'll show you, like, the effects. Like, effects and spawns and that type. And some other cool tricks. But that video will be very, very short. So, yeah. That's kind of the basics on how to model, I guess. I hope you enjoyed this small tutorial. I'm sure there are some better ones out there, though, which go a bit more in depth. In the next video, I will be showing you, like, effects and that stuff, and some things that you can add into it. Like this. Random stuff. I don't even know what that is. It doesn't do anything. I don't know what that is. What is that? How do? It lied to me. It didn't do anything. Okay, but, you know. And I will show you some tips that I use for modeling. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. This is Pie Bagel, signing out.